Good morning, everybody. If you would kindly get your coffee and a drink of water or whatever, have a seat. We're going to get the meeting started. And if there is someone who has just forgotten to come up and check in with our secretary for your attendance, please do so now. And while we're all getting settled, did you hear about the new restaurant on the moon? No? It has great food, but no atmosphere. What? All right, well, why did the tomato blush? Because it saw the salad dressing. Come on, people. All right, with that, Ms. Secretary, could we please do roll call?
All right. Acadia 2,
Present by proxy.
Andover A, absent. Andover E, proxy. Present? No, it's not here. I have it. No, you don't. All right, that's sorry. All right. Andover F,
Present by proxy.
Andover G, absent. Andover I,
Present by proxy.
Bedford A,
Present by proxy.
Bedford B, absent. Bedford C, absent. Bedford D, absent. Bedford F, absent. Bedford H, absent. Bedford J, absent. Brookfield,
Present by proxy.
Cambridge E, absent. Cambridge F, absent. Cambridge H, absent. Cambridge I, absent. Cambridge J, absent. Cambridge K,
Present by proxy.
Canton Court D,
Present by proxy.
Devonshire,
Present by proxy.
Dorchester A,
Present by proxy.
Dorchester B,
Present by proxy.
Fairfield A,
Present by proxy.
Fairfield B, absent. Fairfield C, absent. Fairfield E, absent. Fairfield H,
Present by proxy.
Gloucester A, absent. Gloucester B,
Present by proxy.
Gloucester C, absent. Gloucester D,
Present by proxy.
Gloucester G, absent. Gloucester M,
Present by proxy.
Grantham, absent. Highgate A,
Present by proxy.
Highgate B,
Present by proxy.
Highgate E, absent. Highgate F, absent. Highgate 4, absent. Huntington,
Present by proxy.
Knowles 3, absent. Lancaster 1, no, Lancaster 3, absent. Lancaster 1, absent. Lancaster 2, absent. Lancaster 3, absent. Lancaster 4, absent. Manchester 1, absent. Manchester 2. What's last name? Susan Raba? Okay. All right, you got it. Nantucket 2, absent. Oxford 1, absent. Manchester 3. It's here, yep. Quelfast, absent. Radisson 1.
Present by proxy.
Radisson, 2, absent. I got you. Tremont, 2.
Present by proxy.
Villeroy, absent. Yorkshire, absent. Madam President, you had 76 association with 3,834 unit with 69.4 represented. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to call the meeting in order. And could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, the first order of business is to approve the December 20th membership meeting minutes. I'd like to move for someone to make a motion. Thank you, Debbie. Second? Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, discussion? All right. Any changes? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so carried. All right, let's move on to management reports. And our first report today will be by Paul Stern, our First Service Residential GM.
Good morning to everybody. The report this month, it will be relatively speedy. I'll try to make it exciting. That appears to be the second page, but there you go. Thank you for that. Month to date transfers and leases, our totals are 15 transfers and 21 leases in terms of new residents. Then moving on to some of the agenda items. On the landscaping front, we are moving into the bid cycle. For those that are directly involved, the various committees and the Fed board, that is a very, very detailed process, and we will do our damnedest to get as much active bidder interaction as we can. We're all very well aware of the ongoing discussions regarding landscaping and tree trimming in this community, and we'll do. We're going to take some steps and change some things that will increase the level of attention and management on these parties, and ultimately, it all starts with having the right people in the chairs doing the work in the first place. So that is, frankly, it's a Paul Stern I have a dream speech that sometime through this rebid process and changing some of the processes and also the work order system to upkeep in the coming weeks and months, that implementation, the combination of all of that needs to get us off of this hamster wheel of being upset about landscaping, being upset about the response rates. Just, I'll spare everyone because you live here, you know the drill. I'm new to this situation, but I also am already weary of it in the sense that landscaping gets way too much airtime. And I used to have a saying when I used to run bigger companies that is, if you say anyone's name in the office too many times in a week or a month, there's a problem. So in this case, it's not a person, it's a thing, and the thing is landscaping. So you have my word that it's going to get attention, and between the actions of the Federation Board and First Service as an assist in any way that we can, we're going to try to stop talking about landscaping and just be happier about it. So that's my I have a dream speech regarding landscaping in 2025. All right. Moving on to other items. We're all here together one of the things we'll be talking about today, and it's really a Fed matter, but the FCC Republic dumpster switch, we are going to assist that transition to the best of our ability. I think it's very rational in terms of expectation setting. When you think about the number of dumpsters that have to be pulled and the number of dumpsters that have to be put back in place in the correct place, To think that that will go without one little hiccup, without any hiccups, is that would be a lofty goal. So let's be patient, because there is guaranteed to be at least one dumpster that doesn't get pulled and the new one shows up. I promise you that will happen. If it doesn't happen once, I'll buy everybody a cocktail. All right? I mean that literally. We'll all go down to the Mexican place and it'll be more margaritas than they ever sold in any one evening. So it's gonna happen, people. It's gonna happen. So let's be patient and just know that there's a lot to coordinate there on the part of the departing contractor and the new contractor. There's a lot going on there, but we're gonna try to help it be as smooth a process as possible. Next little category, I don't know that I even want to talk about it. You know, in your mind's eye, I want you to think about almost like that 4-ball pendulum thing, that little toy people used to have on their desk, where like one, you know, the thing going back and forth, and right? It's like the Corporate Transparency Act. So we're still in the do nothing fast kind of mode, because the pendulum's still kind of, those balls still kind of bouncing back and forth, right? We don't know what's going on. I mean, as a not just First Service, but that whole subject is just a nightmare. So more to come on that. When we have a clear directive, we will certainly share it. That's all I'm going to say about Corporate Transparency Act. Administratively, I guess the big news is for the communities that used to be serviced by Helena Warren. We do have an accepted offer from her replacement. It's a gentleman named Alex Novak. Alex will be starting on February 3rd. So our goal for February 4th is to make sure he knows his way to the bathroom and the kitchen. That's the first goal. And then in the weeks following, he is an experienced CAM. He will be an asset. He seems to be very energetic, very pleasant overall demeanor, and I'm optimistic that we're going to be happy about that selection. So he starts February 3rd. We'll be training him along the way, and within a few weeks he should be fully helpful. Let's see, what else? Candy, I want to give a public shout out to Candy Rains. Thank you. Thank you for that. On behalf of Candy, I want to thank you for that, because frankly, we are all doing what we can in the office to make up for that temporary vacancy, myself included for that matter. So Candy really has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and a little thank you and a smile goes a long way towards brightening our day, because if you haven't noticed, sometimes we're the recipients of something other than a smile and a thank you. So to share the smile and a thank you to balance the other stuff goes a long way to keeping people centered and energetic and looking out for your best interests. I believe that is the end of the list. So thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you, Paul. And we'll move on to Matt Promuth from Vesta GM.
Happy New Year, everyone. Good to see everybody here. I will try to move through this pretty quickly. Total gym usage, let's keep an eye on that number. It's about 8,000 for the month of December. We'll see New Year's resolutions spike and then come back down. Spa and salon usage, $26,000 in services and merchandise sales for the month of December. In food and beverage, another month over $200,000 in sales at the South Club. La Perque and North Club Catering December hit over 10,000, and Paradise Palm Bar December 10,846. What we've seen is exactly what we saw toward the end of, or at the beginning of last year when we got the permit. When it's cold, people are not drinking margaritas by the pool. I know that's a stunner. So you'll see some announcements on some timing of openings, closings, and some adjustments we'll be making internally, but just to give everybody a heads up, that'll be coming your way. Guest passes, a very busy December. You had a lot of friends and family in. Guest passes sold a 33% increase year over year, $7,500. Outdoor pool lighting project. The project has been completed and the contractor has submitted the application for night swimming approval for the county. We hope to hear back by 2030. So here we go. Oh. Go ahead. Keep going, keep going. So let's take headaches for 2,000, Alex. We're good. Paul's got landscaping. What is my headache for 2,000? It's the pools right now. The over-under on Mabel messing with me 3 times today has hit. So thank you, Mabel. I'm just kidding. All right, so pool temperature discussion, actually kind of serious in a way I look at it is, we have a lot of folks out there that utilize the pool for their health and their well-being. It's not just for having a great time splashing around. They use it for their muscles, their body to feel better. So it is actually a very important topic for me, and I don't mean to minimize that because it is a really big deal. So I want to start with acknowledging that and give my apologies to those folks that are unable to use the pool for whatever reason and whatever temperature isn't conducive to their bodies. There are a couple layers to this. The indoor pool is normally heated between 87 and 89 degrees. Over the last couple of months, we've had a number of challenges there, including heaters going down, shaft seals is the latest one, circulation motor. All 3 of those have happened in the last 2 months. So, and some of those have been under warranty, but it's still a pain in the behind for our residents who just want to get out of their homes and exercise and feel good about their bodies. So in addition to the indoor pool, we consider to receive like a lot of negative feedback. We have about 100 or so dedicated swimmers, and they're very frustrated about the pool temps and the hot tubs. Complaints have picked up, especially since the temperatures have dropped. As the complaints began, we were informed by our vendor that these complaints are happening in all of their accounts, not just ours. There was a notification that the Y is actually closing some of their pools because the heaters can't keep up based on the ambient temperature, efficiency challenges, heat loss. I won't go into all the scientific stuff. If anybody wants to meet me after the meeting, I actually have one of our pool vendors that's supposed to be here at 10:15, but I've also got some of the data there. I spoke to the pool vendor. Ever since we had the Tiki Bar install, I kind of operate from a maintenance standpoint of trust but verify. I've called another vendor out here to check our components and check everything. They're going through the same thing with their communities, their vendors. I've called country clubs and some other folks. So I'm not just being given lip service on the general concept, but I can tell you it's very frustrating for our residents and for us internally to not have the equipment and everything working for you, because we are here to serve you. It's not the other way around, and we know that. And it's not for lack of attention to detail. So I just want to let you know, again, we're actively working on trying to get you information in real time. We have the maintenance site on the website as well now that gives you up-to-date real-time information as we have it. So I'd love to be able to stay tuned, but keep staying tuned. I always come back to, okay, what can be done to avoid this in the future, not just complaining about it. I've got vendors coming out to give us a look at geothermal and solar, even though I've been told that those are not going to solve the ambient temperature problem. It's going to be cold, but it may help alleviate it. We can get bids for blanket covers for the indoor pool. Pray it gets warmer. And then most popular, contrary to social media posting, please do not pee in the pool. That's not going to help us. On that note, we do have an upcoming pool closure on the 31st because I've asked for them to look at all possible options and find out if there's something that could be happening underneath the pool that we're losing temp on, if we're losing water and then we have to add water. So we are trying to literally look at everything. So stay tuned for that. For headaches for 200, hopefully this is getting to the end of the road here. Hurricane Milton Land Trust Asset Damage Insurance Update. Discussions on all insurance claims are now in the hands of the adjuster. As soon as we have more information on any project or project's improvement, we'll communicate that accordingly. Winter Series 2.0, some good news. $130,000 of revenue on all the second shows. Great job, Scott and team, on a cost of approximately $45,000. Just as a reminder, Vesta does not receive a dime on that. Let's do mental math, $85,000 net proceeds will go back to offset costs to the community. New dates for pop-up shows. We've got the dueling pianos coming up on the 27th. I won't read these one by one. We got a lot going on. You get the emails, you have the pointer, you know where to find information. We'll go to tram operations, 2,800 miles driven in the community. Residents using the tram, 713. Security data for December, 8,300 phone calls, 16,800 passes issues, 3,800 miles driven. We have gone through approximately now, I think with yesterday's totals, close to 5,250 without this number being updated, including yesterday, of decals that have been issued for the cars. Several others were confiscated from individuals who no longer reside in KP and tried to be slick. All right, I'll end this one on some even more good news. I'm sitting here working the other day, and we have the big expo, we have the shows, and I'm watching a group of phenomenal people just work their behinds off. If I could have the housekeeping department come up here. So, to highlight some of these, hey, some of them I didn't even expect here today, so that's great. We all know the value of obviously great workers. These ladies are the backbone of our operations here. The fact Cece, as their leader, has been here 25 years, which is absolutely phenomenal. Sarah Rosario, who teaches me Spanish, is now here 23 years. Maria is now here 10. Debbie Shaver is here 10. Milda, who I don't see, 3. Paulina, 2. And Maggie, 2. Or 3, excuse me. The fact that you all come to work every day and do the things you do and put up with not only me, the rest of the team, we're very fortunate to have such great residents who treat them so well. That's one of the reasons they keep coming back, and we all know the value of retention from a business model standpoint, but from a happiness standpoint. This is not normal in our world, in our day and age, especially at the housekeeping position. You are doing so much more to that, and we appreciate it. We love your smiles, and we love your plan. On behalf of the Federation, on behalf of the Vesta team, we would like to give you a complimentary service over at the spa in addition to a little bit of a gift card here. So thank you all so much. You all deserve it. Thank you for allowing me to do that. I do appreciate it. I always enjoy praising in public and punishing in private, and they're a great group. They're a fantastic group, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, team. We really, really appreciate everything that you do every day. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to committee reports, and Ray, if you could hold off, we're going to move insurance under unfinished business. I'm sure Ms. Shirley from Health and Safety has something very inspiring for our group.
Good morning. Just to keep you informed, COVID, as you know, is out there and it's growing exponentially, as is the flu. So again, talk to your doctors about getting those vaccines if you are good to take those vaccines. They're only about 60 to 70% effective, but they're better than nothing. The other thing that's out there is a virus called the Norvovirus. Some people call it the North virus, but it's actually Norvovirus. Usually occurs on cruise ships or places where gatherings are really close for a long period of time. I can honestly tell you, because I got that a couple years ago, just by using the handrails on a cruise ship. And it is vicious. You'll probably not die from it unless you get really dehydrated, but it is some viral experience you do not want to have. So please wash your hands and don't put your hands where you don't have to, or you will be throwing up and going to the bathroom every 30 seconds for a couple of days. And there's nothing that takes it away other than fluids. So just be aware that stuff is out there.
Thank you, Shirley. Okay, and under the Community Promotions Committee, we are still at a pause due to the damage to the tennis courts. from Hurricane Milton. So as Matt had just said to you, that the adjusters are putting everything together as soon as we get the information and know how much the insurance is going to contribute and what the land trust will have to contribute. The community promotions committee will get back together to look at the options and take a look at a whole brand new plan of how we can approach tennis and pickleball and the other clubs that are associated with those courts. So we'll be continuing. Hopefully next month we'll be able to get together. All right, Richard, Treasurer's report.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. This will be very quick. The quarterly full report will be at the next membership meeting in February. So this pertains to the month of November. December financials not yet out. In November, we paid the cleanup bill from Hurricane Milton, and it was actually quite low, all things considered, $16,600 and change. And that, we believe, is the total amount. So we do not expect anything further from that particular storm. Transfer fees for the month, $5,850. Those numbers have been on the low side lately, as I think most folks in here know. The market has softened considerably, and we are turning fewer units over than what I would say would be the norm for the 6 years that I've been here. Our investment balances are down they're down $37,000, $46,000 a month is expected. Because we are using the Spectrum funds in lieu of increasing fees. And the difference between the two, $9,000, is interest income. Just a quick February preview, we have started to pay taxes on the interest. So those numbers will be reported and discussed next month. And that's all I have for this one.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. Well, 2025, we're hoping, is going to be a year of lots of good changes for Kings Point. This board has spent a lot of time in 2024 fixing issues, listening to the community, trying to implement changes that will make this a better place for each and every one of you. Something that's very important to contribute to that is going to be the members on the Federation board, which this is an election year coming up. And there are 5 seats open for elections this year. So 4 of those 5 positions is going to be a new board member. Unfortunately, Jim Gundry, Vice President to the right, and Tom Ricketts on the left have termed out. They have completed their 4-year term, so they will not be running again, so their seats will be open. And then also our Secretary, Angela Mays, and also our Treasurer, Richard Resnick, will not be running again for their 2nd term. I am the final 5 out of the 5 spots open. I would like to run again for all of you if you would like to have me. All right. And I appreciate that. Any of you that get into a new position, even if you're on the board, it takes a little time to get accustomed to things. And 2024, I got thrown in the end of the pool, and it was sink or swim, and you have to learn things quickly, right? So we've done that, and I'm at that point now where I know much, much more, and now I really want to get into the meat and potatoes with the remainder of the board, so I look forward to your support, running again to be on the board again, okay? So with those districts, I just want to read out what districts are available, so if you know anyone that you feel would be an excellent team member for this Federation board, please reach out to them and ask them to put in to run for the board. So we have District 2, which is Cambridge A, B, C, E, F, H, I, J, K, L, and M. Canton Court, D. Dorchester, A, B, C, and D. Gloucester, A, B, C, and D. Knowles, 1, 2, and 3. All right, so that's District 2. District 3 is Gloucester, E, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P. Highgate, A, B, C, D, E, and F, Idlewood, Princeton, and Quail Pass. That's District 3. District 4 is Highgate 2, 3, and 4, Lancaster 1 and 3. District 6 is Manchester 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Nantucket 1, 2, and 3. And the district I'll be running from District 5 is Lancaster 2 and 4, Radisson 1 and 2, Southampton 1 and 2, Tremont 1 and 2, Worthington, and Yorkshire. So please reach out to people that you think have good experience, that can represent you well on this team, because that's what this board has been for the past 2 years, a wonderful working together team. And we need good people to come on the board so we can continue with bringing in income, working with Vesta, bringing in income here, eliminating waste, and let's get reduction of fees, right? Okay, so let's look for some people that we can get up here and continue what the board has been doing for each and every one of you. So thank you. All right, unfinished business. We are going to talk a little bit about insurance because we have Mike Batchko, who's from Claims. Anything you want to say first, Ray?
Yeah, there's two things. If you are in a area where you have carports and you do not have the amount that you are receiving, by the way, the checks were all delivered for service Wednesday. The check is here. But if you want to know the amount, I've got them here and I can give them to you after the meeting. I am and Diane are going to be going to USI on February 3rd to meet with them to move forward with the agency. And with that, I will walk over here and try to look like I'm professional and give this to Mike, who is going to talk to you about the claim and a hurricane.
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Well, we've been having a lot of fun with you guys. Thank God we're getting some checks out to you. I think some of the neighborhoods have been getting some of their checks. Been kind of. Can you hear me? Okay. As I said, some of the neighbors have already started getting their checks, and I think you're noticing that we've really been covering a lot more damage than you thought initially when you filed the claims. I've just got done with 2 neighborhoods. One of them was about 70 buildings, and they said that they only had 3 roofs in the neighborhood that needed to be looked at, right? Well, I've got about 13 of them I'm buying now. So that's 10 other roofs that the roofer said was fine, but the roof's damaged. The one I'm on right now, I've just finished off with, again, they claimed 2 roofs had to be looked at immediately. I looked at them. While I was looking at the neighborhood, I'm seeing other roofs that have damage. So we looked at the other roofs, and I picked up about another 8 roofs in there as well. So just because the roofer came by and did a repair to the roofs, I'm finding that some of these repairs are not the best. If you take a roof that's 15 or 16 years old and you try to put a brand new shingle on there as a patch, it looks like a Band-Aid on your knee, you know, a little bit of play and it's going to start peeling. I'm also finding where some of these repairs that have been done, I had a lady come out and she says, yeah, they repaired my roof, but it's still leaking in my lanai. I got up there and it was horrible. It was a horrible repair. It was absolutely, I could see why it was leaking in there. I'm buying that lady's roof. So there's going to be a lot of you associations out there. You guys haven't even filed any claims yet. You know, you just kind of took your roofer at word value that he went up there and patched everything up. But if you've got damage, you're owed money. I mean, you had a claim here. You had a hurricane. So if you haven't filed and you think that your roofer's just got you all hooked up, it doesn't cost you anything to have us come out and look at it. Go ahead, get a claim filed. Let us start knocking these out. I've gotten the first big purge of claims over with. So now, as they trickle in, which I would hope that we continue to do here, I'll have the time to be able to look at these things and find the damage. But it would be kind of foolish to let money just lay out there that, in my opinion, you have owed to you. So please go ahead and reevaluate what you have and look at maybe getting the claims filed if you haven't done them already. Any questions on anything? I know some of you guys have already started getting your checks for the roofs and everything. Everybody been happy with those? Okay, yeah, I see some heads nodding out there. I think you're going to be pretty impressed with the carports. Understand that what we've done on these carports, just so that you got some relevance here, most everything that was done, we're repairing the decks, which is the roof. These are not complete replacements. We're replacing the decking or the roof on it. As you know, there's a lot of car strikes and dents to posts and poles and things like that. We're not covering that. You know, so what you're getting is you're getting the decking. You'll also know that, look guys, there's 401 carports out there, and I probably put money in 398 of them. And when y'all drive through the neighborhoods, people still parked under the carports. The carports, truth be known, probably look exactly like they did a year ago. But we were able to sit here and say, look, I can't differentiate and say that maybe that dent happened a year ago and this dent happened because of the storm. So we tried to throw out what I like to refer to as some love. You know, we gave you some love, and you know, use this opportunity with the money you got to, you know, make your improvements, get things squared away. But understand that they're all still up. None of these things, with the exception of a few, were totally destroyed. Also, I'm starting to get some supplements on some different inside damages, and I like to touch base on it. Every one of you out here have what we refer to as a condominium, okay? So the association has the building, the roof, and your drywall. Now, because the drywall's stained doesn't mean that they're going to cut that drywall out. A lot of times it just needs some texturing or some painting to cover that. This would normally be under the homeowners or the unit owner's insurance. A lot of you probably own your units outright and do not have insurance. That's your option. You do not have to have it. But once it comes to painting the inside of your unit because there's some water stains on there, that's going to be the responsibility of the unit owner and not the association to do that. So some of these ones that I'm going to look at for supplemental work to see if there's anything that we owe on it, I'm looking at these things with an infrared camera. I'm using a penetrating moisture meter to make sure that there's no moisture in effect. And if everything's dried in the way it's supposed to be, at this point in the game, we should not have wet areas here. If one of you have a unit that has active wet areas, let us know about it. You know, that could be something that either is not related to the storm, maybe like a broken pipe or something else, or related to the storm and it's still leaking. So please try to be cognizant with all your members. You know, listen to their concerns. You know, I'm here to try to help. You can get through to me with, well, obviously Ray here knows how to get a hold of me pretty easily. Your agent, Brian Burns, is also, we probably talk daily. So please don't think that your concerns aren't, you know, they're falling on deaf ears. We're hearing everything, and, you know, we're trying to get them taken care of for you. No other questions? Great. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, it's open forum. Let's see if anybody signed up. Nobody. Okay. All right, with that, you would like to say something under the agenda? All right. That's what open forum is, under the agenda? Good and welfare? Okay, thank you, Alan. All right, we're going to move on to new business, which is going to be the approval of the trash and recycling service contract with Republic Services. I'm just going to, Jim Gundry, our chair of the contract committee, just has a few words for you.
I was asked earlier, and I'm reminding everyone, this contract is for the 67 dumpster communities. If you have street pickup of your trash, you are pay that directly to the county, and that is who you should have to deal with if there's a problem on your areas. This is strictly for the dumpster communities. There's 67 in here. It's 1,950 units, I believe. And that's what this contract is for. Also, an earlier conversation, Some of you have asked, why am I voting on a contract that doesn't affect me? By our bylaws, we have, since it's a bulk contract, everyone needs to vote on it. We've asked the attorney twice now, I believe, on this, and that's the recommendation. So that's why some of you are voting on a contract that doesn't even affect you. I just want to clarify that before we get into it, okay?
All right. Madam Secretary, do we have any no's on the proxy for the contract? Okay. Well then, with that being said, is the membership all right with a raising hand voice vote? Yep, we will. I just want to check on this, Jack. Thank you. All right. So there's going to be make a motion for approval of the Republic Waste Management contract for 2025. Can I have someone? Thank you, Dan. And second? Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Allen? All right. Any discussion?
Doris Wente, President Highgate D.
Good morning, Doris.
This might be a later thing, but there's a dumpster in Highgate A that is too small. So are you going to swap out the same size, or is there an opportunity to upgrade? One of my homeowners asked about that because she can see it. It's open. Constantly, it's overfull.
I hear you. And right on the contract is the division of the different size dumpsters that are going to be sent out.
Well, they have a small one now, and I understand they'd asked for a bigger one before, and they said it couldn't be done. So how do we get a bigger one for that area? 'Cause
It would, we would be discussing with Republic if there's a change out
Okay.
to take a look at doing so.
Well, does the president of that association have to ask you, or how do you know?
They need to, if this is approved, then they would need to deal with their First Service through the CAM saying, we would like a four instead of a 2 or something like that.
Okay.
And then Republic would come out and take a look at it to make sure that they could do that.
Well, because it's always, the lid's always up, and I have a homeowner that wanted me to bring that up.
Well, I'm just,
Yeah.
because it depends on the room and if the truck can get in there and da-da-da-da-da, that's,
Okay, I don't think that's
Okay.
an issue with that. Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Yes, Dan.
Dan Page, treasurer of Andover D. In 23, we had carport damage. We never saw an adjuster. It finally got repaired in April of 24.
Dan, hold on. Does this have to do with the contract?
Yeah,
Because we're just discussing the contract right now for the dumpsters.
this is for the insurance.
Okay, then can we hold off on that, Dan? Thank you so much. And we'll certainly discuss that during good and welfare. Anyone else? Anyone else have discussion in regards to the dumpster contract? We will take care of that, sir. Thank you. I am going to make sure that everyone in this room, where it applies for the dumpster contract, has the right to speak. So thank you. Okay, with that being said, we will now call the question. All in favor of the dumpster contract? Okay. Anyone oppose? So carried. Thank you very much, everyone. All right. And with that being said, we will move on to good and welfare.
In 2023, we had damage to carports, which were not repaired until April of '24. This year, we have damage to carports again. Okay, we haven't heard anything from an adjuster. Where the carports were damaged, Knox Aluminum is coming today to give us an estimate, which we'll be submitting. We have no idea why we haven't heard from an adjuster. When we had the damage, we also had it to buildings. I wanted to have for the board to be notified so we could go with the adjuster. We haven't heard anything since the damage was reported.
I can deal with that.
That's Andover D.
Dan, all of the carports have been adjusted. All of the checks for all of the carports are with First Service. The money is here. If you want to know the amount afterwards, I've got it on my phone, and I'll tell you exactly how much you have coming.
We should be getting notification about that from someone. We haven't heard anything about anything.
I just told you Wednesday was the day the checks were received finally, this week, 2 days ago. That's when we got the checks in.
So at the end of the meeting, Dan, come on up, okay? And you can speak to Ray. Thank
So
you.
For, if I could talk for a minute on that exact subject, that's me. I'm sorry, Paul Stern from First Service.
Yeah,
the,
look,
the
as far as the
insurance,
carports go, those are all one policy that encompasses 401 carports. You know, we segregated out the checks per association as a courtesy instead of sending out one check. So no, we're not going to be meeting with each one of your associations to come out and look at your portion of the policy for those carports. I do not think any one of you guys wanted to go out there and walk around and look at every one of the carports. I didn't see anybody volunteering to help us out with that. All of these inspections were coordinated through your local CAM. So these were done months ago. We've gotten all the details wrapped out on it, and checks have been issued. Everything is in-house right now. So as far as your Knox Aluminum people, they're also very, very familiar with what's going out here. The quotes that we got for the decks are from Knox Aluminum, so there should not be any big discrepancies. The one thing that you are going to find, again, as I spoke earlier, is going to be the post on the carports. The posts were not replaced unless they were completely destroyed. There's a number of those posts have been hit by cars and golf carts. That is not due to the hurricane. When they address the post, Knox Aluminum is going to have to pull permits, okay? And that will raise the cost of repairing these units. So please understand, when you're looking at these repairs, they are inclusive of the roof deck, not of the post. So when you're talking to Knox, they are going to talk to you about those posts, but understand that is not part of this claim.
The other thing I might add is the people who have asked for the amounts, and I'll give it to anybody that needs it, are surprised at how much they're getting back. So I think you'll be very pleased.
I want to make sure every one of those get replaced when I'm out here again in 6 months, okay?
All right, thank you.
Hi, Annie Collier, Huntington Greens.
Hi, Annie.
I'm on the pond committee as a consultant. I'm commenting on the landscaping contract, which I understand is in process and everything else. I want to emphasize once again the importance of the buffer zones. Florida law is to implement best practices in pond management, and there are 9 principles. One of them is, the number one is putting the right plant in the right place. And that means not using fertilizers or pesticides optimally within 10 feet of any water body. Number 5 is to attract wildlife, which means nesting areas, foods that are good for birds, butterflies, and fish, and removing poisonous and invasive species. Number 8 is reducing stormwater runoff. We feed the aquifer for drinking water with our stormwater retention ponds, and also preventing erosion and collapse of the stormwater banks, pond banks. Number 9 is very general, protect our waterfronts. And that means filter the water that's entering the ponds. What I'd like to encourage is that the Federation modify or do whatever with the contract to be sure to comply with the spirit of this law and by having buffer zones in our landscaping contract. I'd like to point out that we don't live in cities with cement surrounds and cement bottoms. We live in countryside, and these are natural ponds or natural lake ponds with dirt bottoms. We live in the middle Tampa Bay watershed where we feed waters that we're responsible to care for to prevent pollution that can promote red tides and algae blooms. Advantages for KP residents are: 1, reduction in algal and bacterial blooms like poisonous and even carcinogenic cyanobacteria in our ponds. 2, attracting birds, butterflies, bees, fish, and insects like dragonflies that can consume mosquito larvae. Increase natural Florida beauty in Kings Point, and preserving our aquifer for abundance in drinking water. We've all moved to an incredible environment that we borrow from nature. We should be preserving and enhancing and protecting it, not driving away wildlife by destroying their habitats. Per the Pond Committee and Master Committee recommendations, please include maintenance of a 3 to 10 foot, 10 is optimal, buffer zone around our ponds with no fertilization or pesticides, and maintaining a height of 6 to 18 inches for filtration, nesting sites, and erosion control. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Good morning. Lucy Malakas from Edinburgh. What she said, I thought I was supposed to get up and say that, but she beat me to it. I just have a question for Matt. When you put out those numbers about how much the bars make or whatever, is that net or is that gross?
That'll be revenue, gross.
What?
Gross.
Gross revenue
Revenue.
before all the stuff, and so we don't really know what we actually netted.
We do and we don't. There's layers to that.
Okay.
I'll use the very high-level example. Do I
Okay.
allocate labor for the general manager at the South Cub? Do I allocate all electricity cost for the cost of that beer or the revenue
Okay.
of the beer? There's ultimately the way I've tried to look at it for the community is we have our budget, which are the expectations given to us for the year. That includes all of those all-encompassing. If we perform better than that, the net is a beat. If we perform worse than that, it's a loss compared to budget. But to answer your question directly, you're looking at your cost of goods, depending on what you're looking at from a food and beverage standpoint and an alcohol standpoint, anywhere in between 35 to 50%, depending on the menu item, depending on the beer, depending on.
Got it.
Now, do we add the refrigeration cost, the cost of the gas? There's
Right.
layers to that question.
Correct.
And more than happy to sit with anybody and kind of go through all that too. So.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Good morning. Paul, I'd like to introduce you to Matt. He will take you to South Clubhouse and show you the bar and may actually create a drink in your name, and I'm sure he'll be very happy to advertise to the community that you're buying.
Yeah, thanks for that, Randy. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Secondly, Michael, thank you so much for all you've done. Those of you that don't know, Oakley Green had a $2.4 million claim from insurance. Mike has been fantastic. Sandy Collins and I have had him on speed dial. He's been great. Ray's been great. Brian's been great. They have come and supported the community, and it's just fantastic. So thank you very much.
Good morning. My name's Steve Ashton. I've been a Lancaster One resident since 2008. I am a retired U.S. Customs and Border Protection invasive species biologist, and 2 months ago I joined the Pond Committee. I've been doing initial assessments on all the ponds. Right now I have 29 ponds that have been completed, and I read the construction permit that we have for the initial construction on the ponds, and they were all designed to maintain a certain capacity of water. Now, half the ponds out of the 29 that I've visited so far do not fall into the criteria based on the construction permit. They're less than 8 feet deep, which means the capacity to hold that water has been decreased dramatically in many of our ponds.
Sir, can I, do you have a question? Because this should be directed to the Master Association, since
yep,
they are
I have.
in control of the majority of the ponds?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the silt from the bank erosion that has come into the ponds is what's decreasing the capacity. All right? That bank erosion can be dramatically decreased if we have a buffer. Okay? The standard buffer is 10 feet. We're not asking for 10 feet. We're asking somewhere
Okay, so
between.
what is the question, sir? Because that has already been addressed by Annie.
Yes, I'm.
So what is the question?
Okay, the question is can we have the contract modified to have the buffer zones installed on every pond in Kings Point to keep the erosion from happening, that'll keep the capacity there, so if we have a tremendous amount of rain like they did in North Carolina, we don't wind up with folks having to swim to get to safety.
And I understand your concerns, and there's nothing more than being a resident myself and for the ponds that are in my association to be permitted correctly, to be efficiently taken care of correctly. But for some reason, this is all coming at the midnight hour. The RFPs have already gone out for the landscaping contract. So to say to modify it right now, no. Okay, I really wish that the pond committee or members would have came months ago, discussed these issues so we all could have worked together on this. This is definitely something we can look at in the future. Okay, but for right now, for this contract, I am so sorry, but they have gone out.
So the contract's been signed.
Sir, no, it has not been
Okay.
signed.
Uh,
Mr. Davies, are you going to be speaking
Ju-
about the pond? Because at this point, we're
Diane?
not going to take any more conversations for that.
Diane?
Excuse me 1 second.
I just want to mention, this conversation started in February of 2021.
All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Davies,
Okay.
but
So this
I
is not-
cannot
this is
answer
not-
for any
this is
previous
not new.
boards.
This is not a new
Okay.
topic.
Okay, but it hasn't
Okay.
come to the attention of this board until within the
I
past week.
met with people from the board
Okay,
3 months
Mr.
ago.
Davies, I
Okay?
appreciate that. We care very much about the ponds here, believe me, okay? But at this point, the contracts have gone out for request for proposals.
I've,
All right, go
I've
ahead,
been on
Paul.
the landscape committee for at least 7 years, okay? I have never once had anyone from the Palm Committee, and there's been multiple openings on the landscape committee. Never once has anyone involved with the ponds come to join and ask to be on the committee. I think that's a perfect opportunity, if that's a concern, to bring yourself into the landscape committee, and you can develop a plan with the landscape committee on how you're going to satisfy all of the residents and their view of the pond, and make whatever the Palm Committee chooses, along with the landscape committee, to come to a conclusion and a decision on how you're going to move forward.
And that's an excellent point, Tom. I mean, there's a lot of entities involved here. It involves the Federation, it involves the Master Association predominantly, and it involves the associations where these ponds are. So, and Club Link, because some of the ponds are owned by Club Link. So I think that Tom is right. I think it would be a great idea for members of the pond committee, someone to step up and put in to be on the landscape committee. And then we can address these issues frequently and then work together with the Master Association to see what things can be implemented. Okay, we all have to work together, folks. Okay, Debbie.
Debbie Dubasar, Fairfield F. In regards to the trash and dumpsters, on these dumpsters, is it where we can get bigger dumpsters? Probably because of new people moving in. Instead of having one person living there, you have two people living there, whereas it's just more trash, and that's what's happening, where they're coming to our area to put their trash in our dumpsters. You have a 2-yard and you have a 4-yard. The 2 yards really should be a little bit bigger so that they have more space to throw their garbage if the homeowner has more than one person living there, which gives them more trash. So is there a way in regards to that, that we have a correct?
This is, again, here we go again. Once and since the contract's been approved, this is something that we can discuss with Republic about changing out but it has to come from your association or whatever through your first service, and then we can discuss it with Republic. There is no dumpster that's going to be over 4 cubic feet.
Correct.
Because people can't lift the lids.
Correct.
And it depends on how much space there is there. Not to mention the fact that we have recycling bins in a lot of those places too. So we've got to take a look at that and make sure what's what. Is it people in your association using your dumpster, or is it people just dumping their trash? That's
There-
what I'm asking.
There's people just dumping trash from wherever because the trash dumpsters are full. For instance, some in Bedford that have a lot of units, they might have only a 2-yard dumpster, which is really not allocated for that many homes.
And that's the type of thing that their associations need to come and address that, and then we can discuss it with Republic about replacing a 2 with a 4 if it's possible. But when it, trust me, I suddenly became a trash expert. No comment. There's only so much area that for the dumpsters to reside. And they wanted to put bigger dumpsters than 4, and I said, no, we can't do that because people can't lift the lids. So it needs to be, we need to take a look at it. And then again, a lot of the associations, they complain about it, but we never hear from them about. And if there's a problem with your trash, you need to report it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay? Can I answer
Thank
your
you.
question?
No, but we'll get there.
Well, I know that.
We'll get there.
I know that. I was waiting for that.
Alan Hahn, Richmond Association. I think we could all save money on the landscape contract. It costs more to mow to the pond's edge. It costs a lot more. I think we could save money if we could have a buffer zone. They would not have to have special equipment, wouldn't have to mow to the edge all
Alan,
the time. And let it
we
go.
already discussed the buffer zones. You have a
I
different
know, and you-
question.
but-
We're
and
done with
the
that
contract
topic.
So the contract's for 3 years, so we're not going to have a buffer zone for 3 years, what you're
But
saying?
we
It
didn't
could
say
be
that, but
changed,
right
and
now-
we could save money if we do. That's all I want to say.
Alan, the RFP literally just went out today. It went out, okay? So we're not going to talk about the buffer zone anymore. We understand how important it is, okay? But where was all of this passion before? Okay, where was it all?
I could speak to that.
If you're going to talk about the buffer zone, you're not going to be given the floor.
No. What I do want to say is, talking with a member, excuse me, a member of the landscape committee, the issue has been brought up before, but I think I think there may be a problem with either recording or whether there's something from the past board, and the same with other boards have been on. There needs to be a way to continue the discussion from previous boards, the history. So if the previous board didn't inform this board, then you would not know about it. I mean, so that's it, because I know the guy said they've been discussing it for years, but it's the fact that the ball just gets dropped.
I hear you.
That's
Okay,
that's all.
So anytime anyone is free to come to any member of the Federation board, just like they're free to go to anyone at the master board, and please address your concerns. Please don't bring 10 people up here to be talking about something. Now we can't immediately do something about it, okay? So we want to work with you, okay? So, but please bring it to our attention sooner. It has to. Okay, Evelyn.
Okay, I'm Evelyn McQuestion, and I'm the president of Fairfield.
Turn it right down there, Evelyn.
Is it here? Okay, Fairfield G. Listening to all of this, and I think there's probably a lot of people that may be thinking the same thing I am. I mean, we have people that are upset about the ponds, of the garbage, this and that, whatever. I've been coming to all these meetings. I go to the master meetings, I come to these meetings, I come to any meetings that I can. But I have never heard anybody say, do you want to be on a committee? I'm not going to go up to somebody probably and say, I want to be on this committee or that committee. I think what should happen is we have representatives here. There's 9 representatives. I know 5 are leaving, and that's that. But coming into the future, these representatives need to reach out to the presidents within their area and say, hey, we're getting ready for this. Can we have, can we have some support? Do you have any residents that might know about, landscaping or this or that or the other, or open it up to them if they would like to be part of something, okay? I think that that's probably something that we ought to look at. Another thing is that we're looking here and we've got, a little skeleton crew here. That's another thing that could be done, is that when your representative has a meeting with the presidents of that area, they can say, hey, reach out to your people, or if you're not coming to the meetings, could you please send a representative, and let people know that they have representation, and those are the people that are on their board. I know not everybody's going to show up, okay? A lot of people have a lot of issues, but I'm thinking in a community of this size, we should have a much better showing than what we have right now, and that's really pitiful. And I think a lot of it is somebody needs to reach out. I know you do, Diane. I know Ray reaches out to his people. I know I've heard Shirley reaches out to her people, but I don't know about anybody else, okay? That's just my thought. Take it for what it is. I don't, that's all I can say.
And
I'm
I
not talking
appreciate
about-
you coming to all these meetings, Evelyn. Your voice throughout this community is so important, okay, and very approachable, and people trust you, and it's very important. And I wish more people would be coming to as many meetings as you have. And based on your comment before, I can assure you that in regards to the committees, I spent a couple of months when I first became president asking for volunteers to come on the committees. And we've sent out emails and from First Service. So there has been great communication about that. And if I am back on the board again, I will be doing that again. So that continuously goes out, as I did ask for people to please join the board today. And the members of the district representatives on this board do reach out to their members at different times. Okay, some are all the time, some are once a quarter, some are, less than that. But I understand your concerns, very valid concerns. But these board members are reaching out and trying to hear and listen to all of the residents and concerns that you all have.
Well, I don't want to call out my district representative, but I've never heard a word. And I've even suggested that we have meetings, or we have a reach out to people and try to encourage people to come in. And it's crickets, okay? That's just my thing. So I don't want to be a pain, and I'm sorry to take up time, but I just had to say that, okay?
No worries. Thank you.
I just want to add to what Diane said. There is always room for improvement in communications, but with all respect to previous boards, I think this board has done more to improve communication than any that I can think of. Between town halls, emails, our treasurers group that we have going, I mean, yes, can we do better yet? Yeah, of course we can. But we have made a lot of progress in the last 2 years, and I know that at least twice, 3 times a year, there is a call for volunteers. And that call sometimes is answered and sometimes isn't. But we do need them, and we need more of them. And the more we have, the better this community will do.
All right, Mr. Allen.
Good morning. Jim Allen, Idlewood. To follow up on your comment, Rich, a way of being able to expand on that is to open up your workshops, to allow people to come in to see how the sausage is being made. That is something that the Master Association has done. We have opened up our workshops to people coming in to hear discussion. No policies are actually being made, but that does give the residents an opportunity to provide feedback and input. This whole issue with a buffer zone around the ponds have been discussed with multiple boards in the past. We are not very good as a community in passing that information down to subsequent boards. And every time there's always a change in administrations in both boards, all governing boards, we drop information. But the residents here, we remember. But when we are not given an opportunity to be part of those discussions regarding that, then that's where things begin to fall apart. So I say, you should be opening up your workshops. And the excuse that we use, that you guys use blue language, guess what? We use blue language too. Nobody's run out.
I don't understand what you're speaking about, Mr. Allen, in
Well, that's
regards to
okay.
an
That's-
excuse.
yeah, no,
Because
I'm not
unfortunately,
through, but I'm
every
not through,
single,
ma'am,
well,
please.
sir, I'm going to answer this question because you
But I'm
asked
not
it to be
through-
open.
I'm not through with my.
Well,
Okay,
Mr.
go ahead,
Allen, you're
go
going to
ahead,
hold
go ahead,
off.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think this has been broached before and requested for the public to attend workshops for the Federation. There is nothing I would like more as your president, okay, to be as completely transparent and honest and approachable to all of you. Every single week at that workshop, we're either talking about employees, we're talking about residents where there has been behavior where we have to talk about suspensions, okay, or we're talking about legal things. We have contracts up the yin-yang right now. So it's impossible because by law, that is protected information that you cannot share with the public. So I am sorry, I would love to be able to have you come to our town halls, but that is not fair and against the law to have those conversations with the public. That is why we have the town hall, okay? We have the town hall so I can give each of you a voice. And please bring your questions and your concerns, and I think I have been fully approachable to you in regards to that. And it will continue. And now the master is sitting with me so that all the questions in regards to the Federation and masters can be answered. So I'm sorry, Mr. Allen, but we cannot do that by law. So that's unfortunately right now not going to happen. And in your answer to your question in regards to this buffer zone, you are a member of the landscape committee, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you just stated that you knew about this buffer zone, but it hadn't been brought to the attention to the rest of the landscape committee or to the Federation board.
And I've not had an opportunity to review the RFP before it went out and the draft. So therefore,
This has nothing to do with the RFP, Mr.
No,
Allen.
it does. Because I would have brought it up as a possible gap in that if I had had an opportunity or the committee had an opportunity to review it before it went out for bids.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Allen. If that was something that was brought to your attention from a resident or someone else in the community, that should have been brought to the attention of the landscape committee, so it could have came to the board.
I believe it was, but then again, I believe it was brought to the attention. However, it was missed and not put in there, and was never given an opportunity to review the contract to say that it was missed.
All right. Well, Mr. Ricketts just stated that that did not be brought to the attention. Okay. So let's move on. Anybody else? Thank you. All right. Do we have Dan Page on the motion to adjourn? Anybody second? Thank you, Debbie. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your coming today. We appreciate your attendance.
Folks, if anybody wants to stick back and hear more about the pools, Pat from Florida Pools, who is the owner, will be here in the upper corner here.